name is Craig Stevens, and this podcast is specifically designed for a group of people who are studying to pass the PMP certification process. Now, there's several things we're going to do in this podcast, and there's many other podcasts that are going to be associated with this same subject. So what we're going to do is first find it on the website. Westbrook Stevens website has this information and a bunch more information about project management, and here's how you get to it. You go to www.westbrookstevens.com/the word project, underline space, the word management, the number 1.htm. There's another way to get to it. You can go to the front page and scroll down the right hand side, look under excellent management, look in tools, and find project management. You can also do that. My name is Craig Stevens, and you can reach me at craigastevens@westbrookstevens.com. This is one of the training courses that we provide, but we're going to give you a lot of good material here free on the website. Now, if we go to this page, we scroll down a little bit until you come to what looks like a table of contents. In that table of contents, it's labeled links in this page. You go down until you find the PMP exam. You click on that, and it'll take you straight to this section that we're going to talk about. Now, the first subject in this section is what is the PMBOK? What is the PMBOK? Now, PMBOK is not a document. PMBOK stands for the Project Management Body of Knowledge. Now, what that means is it's kind of, if you think of statistics, the population is everything out there, and a sample is a small part of the population. Well, the PMBOK is everything out there. All the best practices related to project management, all the knowledge has been gained over the years, all the documents, everything that exists. That's the body of knowledge. It's huge. There's a lot to it. Now, that's unmanageable. We could not test on that because there's a lot of contradictions. A lot of different places do different things. But what we can test on is a sample of that. So what the Project Management Institute did is collected a whole bunch of different volunteers, and each of the volunteers worked on different sections, and some of them worked together, and even with that working process and working together and all these project managers, there's still contradictions, and there's still a little bit of some errors in the manual itself. So don't get hung up on all the contradictions, and don't get hung up on a definition that can be used more than one way and a couple different definitions meaning the same thing, because you will find that there are only humans that put this together, and they're continuously trying to upgrade this, and I understand they're going to upgrade it again next year. So here's what we're going to do. That's what the body of knowledge is. Now, what PMI did when they created the PMBOK guide is they came up with what these volunteers decided, these groups decided was the key areas that for you to be a successful project manager, you need to know and you need to practice some variation of these key subject areas. Now, the next question we have on our website is, what are the PMBOK guides knowledge areas? Okay, the knowledge areas can be found in section 1, the definition of the knowledge areas. So I have the project management guide, section 1 in front of me. I copied it, and so I'm in section 1.4, and if we go down to section, well, that's the section 1.4, but then there's a subsection number 3, and so it's 1.43, and it talks about the project management body of knowledge. And now it explains in chapter 4, the first body of knowledge would be, the first area of the knowledge area would be the project integration management. If you go to PMBOK, it's going to explain in great detail what that means. But let's just start off by explaining it so that you can understand that this section has to do with the processes and activities that integrate the various elements of project management. So I'm reading from the sheet. So we actually identify, define, combine, unify, and coordinate these project management groups through the integration management part. So it's actually the overall management of all the other groups, if that makes sense. It consists of different activities, and one activity would be develop project charter, develop primary project scope statement. Now we're going to learn about all of these in great detail, but we're just going to get an introduction in this podcast. Develop project management plan, direct project execution, monitor and control project work, integrate change control, and close project management process. Now, that's a lot to be said, but key word is integration. It's going to go throughout the entire project. As a matter of fact, if you want to scroll down a little bit, you're going to see a multicolored picture. And the integration covers the top row of this figure, which is titled PMI, PMBOK, Knowledge Areas, Process Groups, and one example of life cycle. So that's a long title. What it boils down to is this is figure PM2, and it shows you where the integration process fits in the overall process. Okay, now if we go back up, number 2 is scope management. And scope management will be found in Chapter 5 of the PMBOK guide. In scope management, I have the picture in front of me, or the paragraph in front of me, so let's see if I can explain it in a way that makes sense. It consists of scope planning, scope definition, creating the WBS that we'll talk about, work breakdown structure, the scope verification, and scope. So anything to do with scope is in the scope management part. The next section is time management. And if I go to the next page in the PMBOK guide, it's page number 10, and it tells me that on Chapter 6 we're going to approach project time management. Now this goes through the same activities. It explains activities related to time management, and they're all in here. The next one is cost. Chapter 7 explains cost management. Explains a little bit, just enough for you to get an overview. So go to that page if you want to read it. Chapter 8, project quality management. All the subjects related to quality. The number 6 is project resource management. Project human resource management. That would be in Chapter 9 of the PMBOK guide. Chapter 10 of the PMBOK guide. I'll get a rhythm going pretty soon. Project communications management. Okay, that's our number 7. Project communications management. Project risk management can be found in Chapter 11 of the PMBOK guide. And the last one is project procurement management. Can be found in Chapter 12 of the PMBOK guide. Now can you imagine, just by looking at this, that we're going to have to plan for all of these subjects: scope, time, cost, quality, human resources, communication, risk, and procurement. So that is what we're going to get into, what we're going to do a little bit later. For this podcast, that's all we're going to touch on. The next podcast will go into the process groups and explain a little bit about process groups. And my name is Craig Stevens. You find this on the Westbrook Stevens website, and if you want to reach me, it's craigastevens@westbrookstevens.com. I will talk to you in just a few minutes in the next podcast.